your fever on, get inside. What you waiting on? Now's your time. Blood runs through your veins, blood runs high. Fall in love with your soul tonight. Nobody said it was gonna be easy. Nobody said it was gonna be easy now. Nobody said it was gonna be easy now.
Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while. I've had a lot going on, so I've been completely failing on getting some content on here, but I've been prepping for a spring bear hunt. We leave in, what's today, the 6th, so I leave in 12 days. We're flying into the wilderness in Idaho, so it should be a good time. I wanted to do a legit bag dump. This is everything needed. It's for 5 days, first leg of the trip. We're gone for a total of 7, so we're loaded up, 5 days worth of food. There's no water in here. We're going to be following the main part of the river for the first 5 to 8 miles, depending on where we decide to go, and then we'll grab some water as needed once we get to the point of turning up the hill. So I wanted to show you guys what it looks like. A couple things before we dig into the bag. I'm just running the marsupial gear, or the bino harness here, rifle or a pistol adapter on the bottom, rangefinder pocket. I'm just running some old SLC Havoc Swaro binos, 10x42. I got those for a good deal years ago, and I've looked at upgrading. I just can't justify thousands of dollars for new binos when they work great. A bit lighter, but I got the extended one this time. Tired of burning my thumb when I'm killing ticks or lighting fires, so I upgraded to an extended Bic this year. Little things. I also run some chapstick with some Leukotape on it for blister prevention. I try to wrap that stuff around. That or duct tape ends up wrapped around a lot of my stuff. Just extra little holding places. I need to actually redo that before I leave. And then I got just a cheap wind checker on the other side. But it's the only bino harness I've ran for the last, 5-6 years. It's the one thing I've never looked at trying new stuff. Here's my rifle. It's nothing fancy, topped with the Stealthy Hunter rifle cover, blaze orange. I live in Washington, so orange is required. Plus, I don't want to set this down somewhere and forget it, so I went with the orange one, so that way I never look past it when I get to leave. I'm running a Savage AccuStock. I believe it's the Ultralight or the Backcountry in 6.5 PRC. The gun as it sits is 7 pounds, 4 ounces, and then with the cover and bullets, it's right around 8 pounds. It's just a simple BDC old Leupold scope, super light. It's an inch high at 100, dead on at 200, and then it's got a 3, 4, and 500 yard mark on it. It's just a 4 to 12. Super simple, lightweight. I don't shoot long distance. At some point, I'll upgrade to some kind of MOA scope just to give myself a little bit more range. But these days, I'm not real big into long range shooting. It takes a lot of dedication and time, and I just don't have the time to put in getting good out to those longer distances. So, and let's face it, I get really excited when there's an animal in front of me. So shooting these distances is plenty far. I like to be 300 or in, and I think the furthest I've ever killed an animal is like 325. So I don't stretch it out too far. So that's optics. Well, that's binos, rifle. My stove isn't in my bag. My hunting buddy's going to carry the stove because I'm carrying the tent and a bigger size tarp. But we're going to be running the Peaks Torrid. This year we ran my buddy's Amazon special last year. Worked great, but setting it up was a little bit of a pain. I've been loving this stove, so we're going to give this one a go this year. I've used it on some hunts. It's been awesome. Long burn times, easy to put together. Running the Peaks Gators. I've been running these same green ones for a couple years. The only tear in it's from a dirt bike peg. When I was spring bear hunting a few years ago, I slipped off and ripped that up pretty good, but it hasn't gotten any bigger. And then I'm running the Peaks Sissy Sticks Backcountry Elite cork handle. I love their trekking poles, and then I've got the Quick Sticks adapter on here for turning these into a gun, a quick bipod. I just don't like other attachments on my rifle. I've had them cause issues to where I wasn't able to kill animals. They get hung up, they add weight, so I'm all about multi-use. So yeah, let's dive into what's going to be on the pack. This is my GSI Microlite. You can see I need some new stickers now. This thing's been dirt bike adventures, hunting adventures, backpacking adventures, long road trips. This thing's seen quite a bit of country. It's been great. My advice, though, again, I like the old OG green, but I need to get something that stands out a little more for if I set it down. I've never left it behind, but that's also because of all the stickers. But anyway, it's been a great bottle. I got a GSI lid, but Camelback makes a better one. At some point I want to upgrade. I'm always worried this is going to break because it's hard plastic versus the rubber bungee on the pour spout cover. But that's the water bottle. I've got a shoulder attachment that I bought off Amazon that my inReach clips into, keeps it right there. I don't like it bouncing around on my harness. I see a lot of guys just clip it on their bino harness and it moves around a bunch. When I'm wearing my pack, I like it on my pack. If I ever set my pack down, we're not going to be, hiking much, I'll clip it to my bino harness then. It's just got a real simple little round deal here that clips into the holder, and then there's actually a bungee on it, so if it falls out of the holder it won't go anywhere, which is super nice. So I've got that. I'm just running the old inReach Mini, the original. Haven't been able to justify to upgrade that. And then this is my audio, my mics for filming. They're one's here with the adapter on the phone, and then this is a little charging case with another mic. This goes in my lid, but I have it out for right now. So yeah, let's dive into the bag here. As you can see, I'm running the Initial Ascent. I upgraded to the 8K this year. If you guys watched my last year's bag dump, I ran this Cub pouch with the tent off the back. I really had to be super strategic on where I put all my stuff, and I was at max capacity 4 to 5 days with bringing tarp, TP, puffy gear, some extra stuff. So I just broke down this year and decided I was going to get the 8K, and I got to say, I'm happy I did that. I can just put all my stuff in here, zip it up, 5 days of food, TP shelter, I should clarify on that. All my stuff. You'll see it here in a minute, but it's all in here. I got room to spare. I've been loving this bag. So yeah, let's dive into it. On this side, I've got I don't know if you can see it here, but I got a big storage pouch where I put some of my snacks for the day, so I don't even have to take my bag off to have a snack. Then over here, I got the Initial Ascent water bottle holder. Then I got a small pouch which carries some easy to access things here. So in there, I run the Peaks Duo headlamp. I'm running the green one. The red just kills my eyes, and I don't really worry about animals seeing it, especially on spring bear. I got my little phone scope Bluetooth clicker for my camera. And then I run this is a doe. Oh, this is a jackrabbit, but I have a fawn distress somewhere that I need to switch out with this for hopefully stopping a bear. And then I run this Outdoor Edge replaceable knife in my pouch, easy to get to. This has the skinning attachment on the back, but I like this knife. I've been playing with the idea of getting a fixed blade to mount on my bino harness, but I just have so much going on that I just decided to save the $300 and run this knife in my pocket for everything, and it's been a good system for me. So that's the pouches. Then we're going to dive into what's on the back here. I used to carry off-brand of Crocs, which worked great, but they would get a lot of stuff in the toes wearing them around camp, and then Sheep Feet released their Stealth Bomber shoes, and I haven't used them yet, but I like that they are a little more sturdy on my feet. They got a real sole to them. Plus, as you can see, there's not a lot getting in there as far as, you know, sticks and stuff when you're wandering around camp. So I'm going to run these this year. I fully assume that we're going to be doing some creek crossings, which these are way better on your feet for creek crossings as they're like a shoe. So I'm interested to see how these go. Those just go right on the back. And then I've got my Stealthy Hunter glassing pad, orange again. Washington requires orange, so I like that I can just put that on the back, and then I'm following the rules. Also, you can see that my lid and that match my old bag. My 5K was this color, but I went with green, so I don't have to worry about confusing them if I want a certain bag. I plan to run my 5K for any of my day hunting, scouting trips, and then this is my expedition bag. But that's the glassing pad. Highly recommend it. I didn't think the folding thing was all that necessary, because I had just bought this one when they released the other ones. But now, looking at it, the folding one would go right here on the side, and then I wouldn't even have to take my pack off to get to it. So just another feature that Ryan worked on these that I didn't think mattered at the time, but I think it's pretty handy now. As you can see on this side, I've got my spotting scope on the tripod. You can't hunt the same day as you fly in, but I want quick access. If we see something while we're hiking, I want to be able to get some footage. So I leave that all hooked up. As you can see, I changed all these out to the locking buckles. Anytime you put the standard buckle around anything round, they get loose, and that drives me nuts. So I get rid of that. So for now, I've been trying to justify upgrading my tripod, but I just haven't been able to justify it yet. I'm running the Slick Carbon. This is the super tall one. I like being able to stand behind my glass on still days, or even at the airstrip. It's nice. So I've been running this. I've got the 4-ounce Tricer head. This thing is awesome. It takes a little bit of getting used to make sure that it's super tight when you want to walk away from your optics. And as you can see, I run a pretty small spotter, so it's fine. They have a little bit heavier one that has an extendable handle, a bigger adjustment knob, and I think at some point I'm probably going to upgrade to that. When I do that, I'll get their shortest tripod in that head, and it should still be quite a bit lighter than this setup here. Like I said, I just can't justify spending the extra money to save 4 or 5 ounces at this point. And then I have the MagView adapter on here right now, but I'm actually going to order the all-in before this hunt, and I'm going to give it a try. I need a new phone case anyways, because my case has cracks over the camera protector, and so I need a new case. So instead of buying a new normal everyday case, I'm just going to take that money towards the all-in and then use my busted one for every day when I get home. Anyway, so that's what I'm running on here. This is the Kowa 15 to 45 by 55. They don't make this one anymore. Super light. I love the dual focus. It's a great backpacking spotter. This is another area where I want to get a bigger spotter, but at the time I needed one that was for everything, and I wanted to get one that was mainly backcountry friendly, and this thing is super light. I don't know the weight on this whole setup here, but it's lighter than the 77 spotter weighs about as much as this whole system. So I save quite a bit of weight just going with this setup, and then if I get the lighter tripod, it'll really be lightweight. Let's move this stuff. All right, you can see one of my tent poles fell out, but this is where I have my tent poles for my Peaks TP as well, right there on the outside, quick and easy to get to. All right, let's dive into the lid. One thing I love about this whole pack is I can fit a ton of stuff in the lid, so you guys will see how much I can fit in here. We've got This is a whole day's worth of snacks. My food for each day is right at 2 pounds and right around 3,000 calories. I take 2 freeze-dried meals and then just this bag of snacks. And in here I have my drink mixes, my coffee, my snacks, everything is right in here. So each day I just grab one of these and I've got everything I need for the day. Extra shells. This is just the Go Hunt. Again, orange, so if I set it down, I don't forget it. Some baby wipes. Never use regular toilet paper anymore. It's always baby wipes. My little Go Cup. My phone adapter for the Tricer tripod. My Bino adapter. I got my SteriPen. This thing's 5 or 6 years old, still going strong. Sunglasses case for if I do like to take sunglasses for the nice days, but if it's crappy out, I just want to put them away. Here's a spoon, my Initial Ascent rain cover. Never leave without that. This little Initial Ascent pouch is for all my filming stuff, so I keep the microphone with a little covers for sound are in here, and then my little charging case will go in here, and then I even like to put a charging cable just in this, so I have everything I need to keep my audio stuff charged up. This is my everyday pouch, so I've got a backup filter. I run the Hydro Pack 3-liter black ones. This threads right on top of there. This is just a backup if my SteriPen fails, or if my water is really dirty, I'll run it through this first, and then I'll SteriPen it just to get all the grittiness out of it. So I like to keep that around. I keep some Tony Chachere's Creo seasoning, some fire starters, charging cables. I got some Tenacious tape for repairing anything, sunscreen, a little bit of chafe cream. I carry lots of fire starter, never too much of that. Leukotape, some Dayquil, some cough drops, the feet for my trekkers, a spare set of those, an electric lighter, some more chapstick, rechargeable rangefinder battery, lots of fire starter, a backup compass, some zip ties, and then some super glue. And there's actually two rechargeable rangefinder batteries. They don't weigh anything and they're rechargeable, so I'll just bring them. Want to touch on this. I don't use anything with regular batteries anymore. My rangefinder was the last one, and I was out on just a scouting trip, and I was playing with my rangefinder. I realized my battery was dying, so I wasn't getting good ranges, and I just decided put a rechargeable one in the rangefinder and have one full, and then no matter what, I can always get my rangefinder fixed no matter where I'm at, as long as I have a battery pack. So that's what I do now. I don't know, some people still don't think about it. They just run it because that's what they always have. But I made that change this year, and we'll see how it goes. I carry a lot of fire starter. I can't remember what these are called. Get them on Amazon. They're in like a tube style box. You get like 100 of them for $20. Sometimes it takes 2 to start a good fire, but they weigh nothing. I have the S-Bit, but it smells. It's kind of heavy. And I've tested these a bunch. These will burn for 5-8 minutes per one. So if I got wet wood, I just burn 2 of them. But they work really well, and they take up no room, and they're ultra light, so they work out really good. I don't leave the truck without Leukotape. I got some sheep feed insoles now, but I always keep these just in case. You never know, you might get some moisture in your boots or long side hills that just trash your feet. So I try to be prepared and be safe, because once you get a blister, you're kind of screwed for the rest of your hunt. So that's my everyday whatever pouch there. So that's everything in the lid. Now let's unclip this. So in here for the hike in, I just have a beanie and a pair of gloves in case it's a little chilly. Easy to get to those. And then these are those 3 liters. I carry 3 of them. I haven't needed to carry that much water, but always bring enough capacity. You never know, one of these might get a hole, you might lose one, and 3 liters doesn't last very long. So I figure if I fill up 3 of these and head up the mountain, I have 3 days worth of water, and that's that means I can drink as much as I need to. I could stretch this to 4 or 5, especially if we're just doing a lot of glassing and I'm not doing a lot of hunting and it's not super hot. I could have 12 liters last 4, maybe even 5 days, depending. So I just like to bring lots of capacity. It's better to not use it. They don't weigh hardly anything. And then I always keep a contractor bag in the back. This is one of the most versatile pieces. It seems silly. Don't get a cheap bag. Get the good contractor bags. I keep a box of them and I try to take a new one on every hunt. I have curled up in a contractor bag in a rainstorm or windstorm just to help cut the wind and the rain, keep myself dry, put it over my legs, and get under my rain jacket. This thing, I put some of my gear in it in the tent so I can stuff it against the side of the tent as a windbreak against my sleeping bag to keep me from touching the sides. I have curled up my sleeping bag in my pad and put it in here and put it outside on a wet day when we just need to hang out in the tent to get more space, because I don't like sitting on my pad or my sleeping bag. I bring a chair just because it's a little more comfortable. So this thing, super versatile. And then when I do kill something, I like to use it as just a mat for keeping my meat clean. And then if you cross the river, you just rinse it off, put it back in the bag. This thing can be a lifesaver in all reality. So I don't leave home without it, even on a day hunt. You can even sleep overnight in it to keep you warm. I always keep my rain jacket readily available in the lid, easy to get to. Depending on the weather when we go in, the way this is packed could change a little bit. So let's just dive in here. There's a lot of stuff in here, so bear with me. Let's clean this stuff off here. All right. So that's everything without even getting in the bag. So it carries a lot. Let me get a drink here. All right. So right off the top, you can see I'm running a solar panel. I run this in a dark energy charging bank, and it's set. I run a Dyneema shelter, so I can even get away with leaving this in the shelter. My little plug-in area was kind of tearing out, so I just did a quick fix on the mountain last year, and it kind of makes me nervous, but I'm going to run it till it doesn't work anymore. And then I keep a couple emergency cables in here. I tried to run as few cables as I could last year, and that was just dumb. They don't weigh anything, so I put it in here. This is the Rhino Tough solar charger. I can't remember the wattage, but it charges my battery bank. If I leave it out all day in half decent sun, my battery bank is completely charged and I get back. So that's that. This is my Seek Outside ground cloth. I used to keep it out here on the bottom, but now that I got this bigger bag, I just like everything being inside of my pack. Cleaner, less stuff to get covered in mud, wet. Let's just pull this out. So my teepee is right here at the top, and I actually put it in last through the top of my bag. That way it's at the top, readily available. I don't have to get anything else out of my bag. I just unclip my lid, unroll this, grab my teepee. My poles are on the outside, and my shelter is set up within a few minutes. Then I throw out my ground cloth, and then I can start going through my bag. And then I like to put all my extra clothes will actually go in this stuff sack. It's a KUIU dry bag. All my extra puffy gear, I bring an extra pair. You'll see everything in here will all go in there, and I'll go in the corner of the teepee. I don't have to worry about it getting wet, and then I can get everything else set up. This is the Stone Glacier, I believe it's Cirque. It's a synthetic down vest. I wear this every day. It's just a great mid layer. If it's mild temperatures, but it's kind of chilly in the morning, I like to run this just to keep my core warm, and then my arms can vent really good. I've had this for 2 years. I love this thing. I try to find a reason to leave it at home. It doesn't weigh much, but it just takes up a little bit of space, but I haven't found a reason to leave it at home yet. So yeah. Then this is the new Duckworth powder hoodie. I haven't used it on a hunt yet. I've worn it on some shed hunting trips, wore it around the house. Super It's pretty light. It's pretty warm. I'm interested to see if it replaces the need for my puffy jacket most of the time. This is, obviously can deal with some moisture and it stays warm. It's kind of a granola looking piece, but so far I've been pretty impressed with it. So we'll see how it does on this trip. I've got some Stone mittens. I really like these. My fingers just get cold. I used to cut meat for a living, and I cut some fingers when I was really young, and when it gets really cold I lose the feeling in my fingers pretty quick. So I have to go with mittens as kind of the way when it's really cold. It's what I go with. The cool thing about these is it's got an insulated down inner that can come out, and so if that gets wet it's pretty easy to dry. Plus you can just run this over like my other gloves as a rain protection, but it's not super heavy, not super bulky, and it's easy on and off. So that's been pretty cool. I used to run the KUIU Glommets, which are great, except you cannot dry them out and they don't pack down as well. So I was really interested in how these would go. One thing I wish Stone would do is put a little bit of texture on the fingers, so that way if you're trying to use these to glass, they put the texture here, but when you put your fingers in here, you put your hand in here, the down piece to the back of this can slip and you don't get a lot of the dexterity you need. I found ways around it, but I don't know, maybe that's something they can look at changing in the future. But I really like these. I've been enjoying them. So we'll see how this will be my first real hunt using those. And then let's go through some more of the clothes. I've been running these Darn Tough midweight socks. Love those. Just some cheap boxers. I know a lot of guys buy the designed, merino bottoms. I don't know. These are $5 to those $50. I haven't had a reason to not use these, so that's what I use these days. KUIU rain pants. I used to run a Katana pant, but I way oversized them for my way oversized late season puffy pants, and they just take up a lot of space between the puffy and the rain jacket plus the weight. So I went with these Chugach rain pants, and they actually come in a tall, which is super exciting for me. A lot of rain pants are kind of short, which isn't a big deal because I'm wearing gaiters, but I'm interested to see how these go. These are very limited features. There's no pockets, but you can unzip here to access your pants pocket. So we're gonna see how these go. They're super light, and I don't find myself wearing rain pants a lot, so I decided to make a change and we'll see if I regret it. Let's see, the last piece of clothes, and you saw how I had everything packed. It works out real good. The weight feels great. Everything's kind of in there. So it used to be this would have been just my puffy pants, but this year I decided to go with a lighter, smaller, more packable down set. And this is the KUIU Down, I think it's Super Down LT. It's their light version, so not super bulky. So I'm interested to see what I think of these. I got the down light pants and the light jacket. Again, not real feature, not a lot of features in either of these, but when you're wearing down, it's probably because you're pretty cold and you're being super stationary. So we're gonna see. KUIU stuff always runs really small, so these are the extra large. This is the extra large, and then I run these Born Primitive. They're light 2.0 pant. They're super lightweight, so everything seems to layer really well. So we'll see how it goes this year. I do have the Super Down Pro pant and jacket, but like I said, one stuff sack for each. Plus, I think the pant and jacket together in the light weigh like 14 ounces, and just the pant is like 18 and the jacket's like 18. So I saved out about a pound just in weight and a whole bag's worth of space. The space thing was big before I decided to get this bigger bag. I'm still on the fence about which pants I'm going to take. Just because if I'm putting puffy pants on, it's probably pretty cold. This stuff might end up being like an early archery elk setup, but either way, I'm going to probably give it a try this year and see what I think. So yeah, there's the puffy gear. I think that's it for clothing. So I'm going to go ahead and move this stuff off the table here. Sorry if you guys can hear me sniffling. Apparently I'm getting a little bit of a cold. All right, so let's dive into some of these other bags I have. So wet wipes is a hard one. I ran short on wet wipes last year. It got a little interesting. Luckily, my buddy that I hunted with had a lot of toilet paper, so it worked out okay. But for reasons that I'm sure a lot of you guys can understand, I don't like to run low on wet wipes, and I can't use toilet paper as far as for teepee. It just causes issues that I don't enjoy and that make life miserable when you can't shower for 7-8 days. So I've got a bag of 20 and a bag of 14, and then I have a handful in my pack already that just go in the lid. You saw those. What I'll probably end up doing is I'll probably end up just bringing both of these just to be safe. If we end up hanging a couple days of food and some other stuff and going to the top, I can cut 6 ounces or so if I leave one of these behind. So that's kind of a weird one, but I think it's important. I would rather have leftover wet wipes than run short by a day or two. It's just not a fun situation. All right. I believe this is my medicine bag, so we're just going to go through it. Lots of chafe cream, lots of sunscreen. I could cut some weight, but again, if I run out of sunscreen, the ramifications for running out of sunscreen and getting sunburnt just aren't worth it for me. So I bring a handful of those. Same thing with chafe cream. If you start chafing and you don't have a way to fix it and you got to hike 8 miles with 100 pounds on your back, it's almost just not even doable. So I got enough chafe cream for almost every day. I've got some Tylenol or ibuprofen, Tylenol, Benadryl, some 500 Tylenols for if something major happens. This will get you through a little while. And then I have some NyQuil, DayQuil, and cough drops. So that way whoever's sharing a tent with me, if I end up sick, can get some sleep. I'm not coughing all night. And then, yeah, so I could save quite a bit. Well, not quite a bit, but probably a half a pound, 8 ounces, maybe 10 ounces if I cut this down quite a bit. But I just don't see when you're at, I think this was with the gun, I'm at 62 pounds. I mean, saving a pound here and there just doesn't seem worth it with what I could be leaving behind, and it could really bite me in the ass. This is my medical kit. I bought this one through Hush. It's a UL Backcountry First Aid Kit. I took out the space blanket, the duct tape, and the zip ties because I already carry that stuff. I added some super glue. There's more chafing cream. There's more Tylenol, Benadryl, and ibuprofen in here. And then it has 2 aspirin, some bandages, some blister gels, wound closer strips, petroleum jelly. There's a little bit of baling wire, which is an interesting one, but I figured I'd leave it in here. And then some storm matches. I'm pretty sure I added some more Band-Aids in here as well. I don't know. I still haven't found a great medical kit. Stealthy Hunter has one they put together. Man, it probably would be worth it. It's $150, but I haven't bit the bullet. I keep just putting my own together. Well, hopefully it doesn't bite me in the butt, but that's what's in there. This is my kill kit. So at some point it will have my Idaho tags. It's got some guideline for hanging meat if we need to do that. And I like to wear latex gloves, especially dealing with bears and trichinosis. And then I've got 3 replaceable blades for my Havalon. I've had this forever. I thought about going with lighter ones, but again, a few $100 just doesn't seem worth it. Plus, it's a great knife. And then I've got 3 replaceable blades for my Outdoor Edge 3-inch. With this amount of knives or blades, I should be able to do 3 bears, 4 bears, whatever I need to do. And then I'm running the Graxaw game bags. I believe there's 6 in here, so technically that's probably 2 bears worth, or 1 bear and a hide and have a bag left over. I do take a separate set of game bags with me to leave at the airstrip. I have a set of KUIU bags, so I leave a set of those there, and then I can either bring these back, swap them out, and hang my meat in the KUIU bags, or I hang these and just deal with the KUIU bags. These are just so much more compact and light. I really should just get another set of these for these longer trips, and then I don't even have to go back. I wouldn't have to go back to the airstrip to kill 2 or more animals. But that's what I'm running. I have yet to really use them because I don't take them on my day hunts, and the last few animals we've killed have been on more day hunting trips than backpack hunting. So, but hopefully this year they'll get some use, and then I'll have some kind of review on those. This is this is where a lot of my weight is, and this is where everybody gives me a hard time. This is my tent, TP, shelter, everything bag. So we're going to go through this. You guys are going to laugh, but this is, so I have a spare light in here. I never go on a multi-night hunt, or I shouldn't say multi, but an expedition style hunt with more than 2 headlamps. I've been using some different ideas for inside the tent at night lights. I bought one of the rope lights from First Light? No, from Last Light, and I just recently got it. I tested it on a couple power banks. I just wasn't impressed with how much it used. A ton of power. I mean, it was killing on high. It was killing my big dark energy in like 2 hours. And I mean, I just don't see the advantage to the weight. Yeah, it's cool. The rope light's great. You can, it'll be great. I used to run a solar powered little lantern, but it would shut itself off after a few minutes. So this trip, I am actually just going to run my spare headlamp, and I'm going to just hang it in the teepee on some rope where you can reach it without having to get up. And we're going to see how that goes this year. One of the main reasons is I can run this on the low light, which is 300 lumens, for like 70 hours. So I shouldn't have to recharge it at all using it. And then the one that's in my pack for when I'm hunting never gets used, and so it's always ready to go. So that's what I'm doing there. We're gonna see how that goes. I bought that Last Light rope thinking it was gonna be great, but I'm just worried it's gonna use too much power, so it might not be something I ever use, but it's there if I need it. But anyway, so that's what I'm using for light. I got a spare spoon, so my spoon that's in my pack stays in my pack. This is one that you guys are gonna make fun of, but as you can see, I have long hair, I have a beard, so they get a little unruly, and with ticks, I want to be able to go through my hair and my beard. And this even has a little mirror on it, so I can look for ticks myself. Spring bear ticks are really bad. This thing's super light. It was like $5. It might not even make it the trip. We'll see how well it holds up, but I bought it off Amazon. Folds up really compact. Hate me, whatever. It is what it is. I like brushing out my beard and stuff in the morning. This is a carbon monoxide sensor, plus it does temperature, so I like to have one of these so I can see what the temperatures are like inside and outside the TP. The original Flex tail pump. They've got some newer ones. I run this one. This could also double as a light in my tent if I decide to try that out. But this thing's awesome. I don't know why you would use your mouth to blow up an air pad. This thing will blow it up and pull the air out of it. You don't get lightheaded. I don't know what the deal is. Long COVID, whatever. Ever since I was sick during COVID, my lung capacity has been shot. I can't seem to fix it. So blowing up an air pad just isn't really in the cards for me. Plus, I don't really enjoy doing it. So I'll pack this all day long. I can blow up my air pad 4 or 5 different times without this needing to be recharged. So it's kind of a no-brainer. It's kind of loud, but I mean, it's no louder than, a TP or chopping up firewood or whatever. So I don't go anywhere without that. I sometimes have a hard time falling asleep, so I got some Mountain Op sleep gummies. These are expired, so hopefully they still work and they don't make me sick, but they only come in a jug of like 100, and I don't use that many, so I got 2 of these per night. They do work. I've got another electric lighter. This thing is awesome. It works really well on those fire starters I was showing you. I have a bunch in here, you'll see. I run the Graxaw boot dryers. Again, call me ridiculous, whatever. I don't like wet feet. I sure as heck don't want to put wet boots on in the morning after all night. I put my boots up in the peak of the TP, run these, fires going, they're dry in an hour. Sometimes I don't even do it until in the morning, so that way when I put them on, they're nice and warm and dry. Late season, I haven't done a lot of TP hunting in the late season, but that's where these earn their keep. You don't have to put on frozen boots, so I don't go anywhere expedition style without them. You just never know what you're going to run into, and wet, cold feet just sucks. I also, here's some extra weight. I've got an extension, a USB extension, so I can hook it up to that. I can run them down. My power bank can be on the ground, so I can unplug it and plug it in without having to get up, get out of my sleeping bag. So that's been pretty handy. I also have a splitter for charging, or if I want to charge my phone and run my boot dryers. The other thing about these boot dryers, I haven't tested it, and I probably should, just to get an idea of runtime, but these things don't use much power at all. I mean, I've run them for hours without it even taking a light off of my dark energy, so these are a game changer. I heard rumors there's some updates on these, so if you're in the market but you don't need them for this trip, I think this summer they're going to have an even better version, but this version works great. I have not had any issues, and they're super durable. Some more cords. Here's my dark energy power bank. This one's old. It lost the little clip that holds out the little pin, so I just duct taped it. It works. Don't buy camo, don't buy black. They have an orange one, and they just launched a lime green one. Get those. You don't want to accidentally leave this somewhere. It's not cheap, and if you don't have a power bank, it really screws up your stuff. So don't get camo or black. I need to get a brighter color or wrap this in some kind of neon reflective tape. And then I've got a toothbrush, a little toothpaste. I've got the feet for my trekkers for putting them up in the peak of my Peaks TP for the cross-trek stabilization to hang gear, help with wind deflection. So I just keep a set in there, and then just a pile of fire starter. I mean, there's 15 in here, so lots of fire starter. I mean, fire starter is something that you don't want to run out of. And that's, like I said, that new stuff I'm carrying is so lightweight. This is a Stealthy Hunter stretch pouch. I've heard that the orange is the most stretchy, but I got all of this in this little pouch. Plus, I like that it's orange. I can see it in the TP. I don't have to go searching for it. So that's nice. So that's my tent gear or shelter bag. But yeah, you'll see, I mean, this thing just stretches like crazy. It's nice because, I mean, I could fit even more. I've seen guys put like puffy jackets in these things. I bought this one just to have, and I need to get some more, but it goes back to I have a million stuff sacks, so I'll buy them as I see them. So yeah, that thing's pretty nice. It all fits in there. I just know that that stays in the tent. So there's all my stuff sacks. Cook stove. I go back and forth on this. This is the Jetboil Minimo. I took the foam off the outside so I can put it on a fire or right on my stove to melt snow or just to warm up coffee or whatever. There's better options out there, it sounds like, nowadays, but just comes back to money. This one works great for me. I had a lighter weight system. I go back and forth on it, but I'm going to run this one. I can get, this is a brand new one. I should be good for 7 days off one of these with a cup of coffee a day, a hot meal a day, and then maybe mix in a hot breakfast. So 2 meals a day and a cup of coffee. One of these should be more than enough. I will have another one at the airstrip, and I can decide if I want to take more. The other thing is there's going to be 2 of us, so if I run out of fuel, I'm sure he will still have fuel. So it's one of those things where if I go with the bigger one, it won't fit inside of this, and I like having it all in one place. So yeah, just remember to take the outside off the foam, and then you can put it right on your stove, right outside of a fire. One time I forgot my Jetboil fuel on a overnight trip, and I was able to just set this pretty much right on the fire and was fine. So just another way to ensure you're all right. So that's all of that. Let's get this out of the way here. This other table's getting full. All right, so now dive in. So I've been running this Thermarest Neo Air. It's an old style one. It's got the old style valve on it that's super inconvenient. I need to upgrade. I just haven't. But the biggest change I made this year is I got a different pillow. Pillows are a hard one for me. I had one that fit in the mummy part of my old bag, and it was all right, but it would slip around. Then I got the new Peaks, and the hood is smaller. And I've been hearing about these new style pillows that have these straps where you can strap it around your air mattress and it won't move. And then this one also has these supposedly non-stick deals. They don't really seem like it, but anyway, I got this off Amazon. I ran it on an overnight adventure this fall, or I guess I should say this winter. It was the first time I ever did like a snow camping trip, and I gotta say, it actually worked. This whole strap system to keep it in place, believe it or not, it actually worked, and my pillow did not slip out from underneath my head. It cost me like $12 on Amazon. It's not much more than the old pillow I had, so I'm just running it, and I've been happy with it so far. In here is the Peaks Solace 15. We'll call it a quilt sleeping bag puffy jacket. It's got a hood. It's got armholes. It's got a 3-way zipper. You can stick your feet out, your arms out. You can put the hood on. You can wander around camp. You don't have to get out of your sleeping bag to start the stove anymore. The center zipper is a game changer. No more hoping you sleep on the right side of the teepee so you're not opening to the wet walls. I never thought center zip was all that important. Now I'll never do anything other than a center zip because you're always opening up. You're not opening to the side or towards the stove. It just makes sense. And I don't know why it took to 2023 for somebody in the hunting world to have a zipper that you can freely move up and down without it getting snagged. I ran a different sleeping bag. It was a great bag, a little bit lighter, maybe 4 ounces lighter, 5 ounces lighter, but I could not get in and out of it without constantly getting snagged and getting angry. And there's nothing worse than needing to get out of your bag or into your bag quickly and you're fighting a stupid zipper. So they fixed that, not to mention the 3-way zipper for ventilation if you need to ventilate your legs, your chest, your midsection, or if you want to stick your feet out and go to sleep because your feet are hot. This bag fixed all those problems. So highly recommend take a look at that. The features seem ridiculous. Hopefully on this hunt I'll have some footage of wearing it glassing, wearing it around camp, just to show you guys. I thought it was ridiculous. I bought one. I'll never go back. I love this bag. Here's one of the luxury items that I could save some weight, some space. This is my chair. It's a Helix Chair Zero. I've had it for years. It weighs like a pound, and I go back and forth on this thing. Last year we took it all the way to the top where we were camping from. It was like 2,000 foot elevation gain, steep, sucked. There is nothing better than sitting in a chair after a long day. Some people don't mind sitting on the ground. Yeah, you can find places to, sit up on stuff, but one of the reasons why I love this, especially mixed with my Peaks teepee, is with Peaks door system, I can sit in the teepee and glass. And so last year we could glass forever out the door of our teepee, and it was comfortable to do so because we could sit in our chairs and we could glass out. If we were on our sitting pads, we would have been sitting there crisscross applesauce, or it just isn't comfortable. I have some knee problems and back problems, and this chair, I just can't get it's not heavy, and I'll tell you what, when I don't bring it, I regret it. So hate me if you will. My advice, they probably made a better, lighter version, but this chair is 3 or 4 years old, still going strong. The stuff sacks beat the shit, but the chair itself still in great shape. Highly recommend bringing a chair. I know it sounds silly, Some of you guys don't believe in air pumps because of the extra weight, don't believe in chairs. I don't think an extra pound or two matters when you're at 65 to 110 pounds. I bring it. Here is my big weight penalty, and I haven't decided what I'm going to do here. This is the Peaks TNT origami glassing shelter / 2-person emergency shelter. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I'll put a couple pictures of it over the video here so you can kind of see what it is. This is an oversized tarp that becomes a great early archery 2-man trekking pole style shelter. It's kind of overkill for just a glassing shelter for the rain, but at the end of the day, more coverage is better than not enough coverage. The biggest problem with this is 26 ounces, and I have a sheep tarp that is like 10 ounces lighter, and it does the job. The only reason I'm thinking about taking this is, one, I love Peaks gear. The extra weight sucks. I haven't quite decided, but my hunting partner and I have talked about, if we find a bear way up on the mountain, we may just throw our sleeping bags and pads in our packs and take this, and then we can put this together in the origami shelter, and him and I can sleep on a hillside in that. And if it gets windy or rainy, it's a really solid shelter. It's open on both ends, but it's kind of almost like it has overhang from where you sleep to where it's open. So it seems like it'd be a great option for that. And I'm going back and forth, because if I bring this and we want to go up the mountain for a day or two, we could really save a ton of weight by leaving the teepee and stove at base down by the river or down halfway down the mountain. And then we just go quick and easy with this, because this won't leave my pack. So this isn't going to be any added weight, but leaving the teepee, plus you can't always find a spot for a teepee. So I don't know. I haven't decided on this yet. I might bring both and make a decision when we get in there and see what the weather is going to be doing. If it's not going to be if it's going to be super nice, I may leave this. Or if my buddy and I decide that we'll just man up, go up and down. But this, I don't know, it just kind of seems silly to not bring this for 10 ounces. Plus, I'm hoping they release this in a Dyneema and it'll save me 5 or 6 ounces. Then it would really be a no-brainer. I've kind of decided over the last 2 years, I'm kind of done with Sil Nylon or Sil Poly. I want Dyneema everything for shelters. There is some advantages, not only price, but there's some science and some stretch advantages if you go with Sil Poly or Sil Nylon. But I like the waterproof, no stretch, super strong for high winds. Plus, it doesn't wet out and get heavy. Anyway, so Peaks, Dyneema this, Dyneema everything from now on, at least once in a while, so guys like me that don't like to save money can just bite the bullet and buy the best product possible that's light enough. And then right here is my 5 days of food. I think it's 4 technically, but it can go 5 or 6 if it had to. It's 2 meals a day, 2 freeze-dried meals a day, a bag of snacks a day, and then I'm actually going to throw just a baggie that has some extra coffee and extra drink mixes in it just in case. But I'm at like 29 to 3,000 calories a day. I'll probably have a little bit left over from each day. So if we decided to extend a day, this could be 4 to 6 days worth of food. Especially if we killed something, I could go all 7 days with what's in here. If we have a bear that we could mix in the evenings, then I wouldn't have any problem going 7 days. Yeah, that's everything that fits in here. You can see right here that I still had it really, really rolled up. I mean, I definitely could have fit, I can fit another few days of food. I could fit a backpacking raft in there. I could fit the stove in here if I needed to. One of the other justifications, the bigger bag, is I want to start taking my son on more backpack trips, and he can only carry so much. And instead of strapping stuff on the outside, I could just put some of his stuff in here, and it's not all hanging off, being all weird. But anyways, let me know if you guys have any questions. Don't hate on me too much for some of my kitchen sink items. I know I could drop some weight. I was really thinking about leaving the puffy gear at home and just running the rain pants and then that powder puff from Duckworth, just to save some weight and space. But quite honestly, again, I go back to weighing the pros and cons. If I get stuck in some cold weather or we end up staying on the mountain away from our TP and I don't have my puffy gear, I'm going to regret it. So a pound here, pound there. I don't want to regret it, and I want to be on the mountain as long as possible, no matter the weather. So that's the system I'm running this year. I will do a food breakdown, just what I'm taking every day, calories wise, and how I packed it. And then I'll also do a video on this pack. I'm running a kind of a hybrid gunsling now. It's a quick release. I can put it in and out of the gun holster without taking the pack off, but it's not in front of me. It's on my side. And I made some adjustments with some different kind of clips, and I think I made it a lot better. So I'll do a video of everything that's on here straps wise. I changed all these to those locking buckles. I hate buckles that slip, so I got rid of those. So all right, guys, thanks for checking it out. Good luck if you guys are getting ready to go out for spring bear. Yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions, and be looking for some videos coming up. I've got some ones I'm working on right now that I want to get out before I leave. So anyways, all right, guys. Well, when I was getting ready to post the video for the gear dump, and then I was weighing the bag to get an idea of what my bag weighs without anything in it, the weight was coming up way more than I thought it should. And turned out I forgot to talk about a few things that were tucked in this stretchy pocket here. So we're going to do that. Plus there was something else I wanted to touch on. So first of all, one of the things I forgot in my gear dump was these Catula micro spikes. I take them on most of my hunts now. Shouldn't say most of my hunts. Towards the end of last year when it started to get wet out, I started throwing these in just to be safe. I didn't use them much during hunting season, but I've done a couple. I did a couple like winter hikes, an overnight trip where I actually put these on a couple different times and wore them on some ice, on some hard packed trails, on the snow. And they work really well. They're a little bit of a hit penalty. I think they're about a pound. So I carry those in here. We'll see what the forecast is, but I have a feeling I'm just going to have these to be safe. Last year on our spring bear hunt, we had to take a different route back because the rain started, and we had actually kind of almost rock climbed up a few small faces when it was nice and dry going after a bear. And then on the way back, we decided we didn't want to risk it when it was wet. So we ended up side hilling across some pretty steep, grassy, slimy hillsides, and I was wishing I had these with me. So this year they're going with me. And the other thing I didn't talk about was my saw that I'm running. This is the Silky Pocket Boy. I think it weighs 6 ounces. I believe I weighed it. I took a picture, so I should have it to put in the video right here. I ran this saw last spring bear season. Tyler brought, my hunting partner, brought one of those almost like a chainsaw. I don't know, how would you describe it? It's like a rope that has teeth that you use where you put your foot down on the log, you run it underneath the log, and you try to rotate and you cut. He thought that thing was going to be pretty sweet. He tried it the first day. We didn't use it again. We just stuck with this. They make a longer one, and I've been tempted just to go to the longer one. A little bit more of a weight penalty, but it'd make it a little bit faster. But this thing is pretty impressive, and it doesn't weigh much. I take this day hunts, multi-day hunts, long hunts. Anytime I think I might need to build a fire, or even it's just nice if you want to sit somewhere to glass and you got to cut a couple limbs out of the way, or you need to build some kind of shelter or anything, or cut limbs to use your tarp, whatever. This thing is just awesome to have around. So I don't go anywhere without it anymore. And on these bigger hunts, these both sitting here. On any other kind of hunts, they just end up in the bag. The other thing, couple things I wanted to talk about when it comes to these power banks. I'm kind of a nervous Nelly, to be honest, when it comes to certain things. Power's one of them. I'm always worried that when I run these older, I mean, this thing's got 5 or 6 years on it. It's missing some pieces. It still works great, but I always get nervous that this is going to fail. And I have this solar powered one that I bought thinking it killed two birds with one stone years ago. The solar power on these is kind of a joke. Unless you're going to let it sit all day, it might charge a couple bars. But it weighs the same as this one, and I have it, so it doesn't cost me anything. It's got a decent light that actually is harder to turn on than even the Dark Energy one. You have to hold the power light for quite a while before the light comes on. So because I'm a nervous Nelly and I don't really care about weight, I'm going to throw in another one of these. It might just stay at the tent as well, or I might have one for in the field charging. I normally carry like a little torpedo style just in case I get stuck overnight or something happens and my inReach or my phone gets low. So I might just use this for that and use this one at the tent. But I wanted to touch on that. I don't know. You should always have a spare power bank at the airstrip or at the truck or wherever you're leaving from if you're going out for a few days here and there. Since we're kind of planning on the first leg of the trip could be extended to 5 or 6 days, leaving this at the airstrip doesn't really do me a lot of good. So I'm going to pack them both, I think. We'll see how it goes. For some reason, I worry about some little things, and power is one of them. I don't want my inReach to die, so I can't check in with my wife and talk about the kids and keep her happy because she lets me be gone for so long, but I need to be reachable. The other thing is, filming, you use a lot of power from time to time, getting a lot of digiscoping or doing interviews or the microphone. So I've just decided I'm going to bite the bullet and I'm going to take 2 of these. Last, I got curious about run times on the boot dryers because I'd brought that up in my gear review. I plugged in the Graxaw boot dryers to this power bank, and I took a picture of the time when I started it. And when I went to bed, so 5 hours later, it hadn't even used 1 bar's worth of power. I went to sleep, turned everything off, went to sleep. I got up, came home from work, decided to continue to test it just to see how long it would take to take down a full bar on a fully charged power bank for the Dark Energy. And it took, I want to say 7 or 8 hours to use 1 bar's worth, which I wasn't only curious because I had brought it up to you guys. I was curious because I've used them before, but I've always tried to not run them for a super long time because I didn't want to burn up power. Now that I have an idea of how long it takes roughly to burn through a whole bar's worth of power, I could feasibly run them all night in my boots. And it's not going to really matter because once I leave, the solar charger's going out, the power bank's going to be charged. So, I mean, that really just helped me feel better. So I'm not testing in the field and risking burning up a whole power bank. Now I know that unless something is wrong with the boot dryers or the power bank, I could feasibly run it 8-9 hours without it really hurting my power situation, especially with 2 of these. So I was just curious. You guys might find a few of those things ridiculous. A lot of people like to count ounces. I was doing that. I bought special puffy gear to save some weight and space. Then I just bought a new bag, and actually when I repacked it this time, I put my Super Down Pro puffy gear in, took out my lightweight stuff, and I actually took out the new powder puff to save on a little bit of weight. But I just went back to, the other thing I did is I swapped out my TNT origami tarp that weighs almost 2 pounds for my sheep tarp, which weighs 10 ounces. So with all the transferring around and adding of things, I didn't really add any weight. So all that being said, I'm taking the lighter puffy gear. I'm taking the TNT in my storage tote that'll be at the airstrip. And we'll see what the weather's doing. If the weather is going to be super crappy, I may swap out my little tarp for my TNT so that way we have more coverage. If it's looking like it's going to be nicer and we might just need it for a little bit here and there, maybe I'll probably just leave the sheep tarp in. It's a huge weight penalty to bring the TNT tarp. I'm still trying to find the best use for that tarp. I think that tarp is going to be better for scouting and early season elk. So just being truthful, I spent some money this off season. That puffy gear from KUIU is like $800 for both pieces, and it was for this hunt. Doesn't look like I'm going to take it on this hunt, or at least use it. It's going to be at the airstrip. These aren't cheap. I bought it thinking I was going to take it on this hunt. it'll be at the airstrip. And like I said, I might pull some stuff out. The reason I took this out was I was thinking this and the lighter weight puffy would make up for the Super Down Pro jacket. But then I got to thinking, why take two pieces to do the job of one? And if it did get super cold, or if I wanted to stay out overnight and I didn't have my sleeping bag, that puffy is going to serve me much better than the smaller puffy. The Super Down Pro is going to do better than the light. So that's where I'm at. I spent a lot of time this off season researching certain pieces that I'm not even sure I'm going to use now. Hopefully, I don't have to sell those other pieces because I like to keep the gear. At some point, I envision having one of all the best types of bags, as I've bought and sold almost every brand to sit here at this Initial Ascent bag. Anyways, all that's a long way of saying I forgot to talk about these two pieces. Don't go on a big adventure without them. I wanted to touch on at least have a spare battery bank at the airstrip, truck, whatever. But I'm probably going to bring them both. It's just more weight for training. And then I wanted to let you guys know what gear I actually decided to run as far as puffy and tarp. So that's where we're at. I still got lots of room in there. Tyler did decide he wants to bring his floor, but I'm still bringing my ground cloth because I've heard that, and Brian said this in his video, and I'm going to say it here. I don't know how Peaks is going to feel about this, but I don't trust those Sil nylon floors. Unless they're going to do a Cuban fiber or a Dyneema floor, which I don't want to pay for because I don't really care about the floor. I'm just going to run my ground tarp. So I'm going to do that on top of Tyler's floor, and then we'll see whose air pad gets popped. Hopefully nobody's does, but I don't want to learn that lesson the hard way. So anyways, thanks, guys. Down to 7 days till I leave. I am going to go through everything 100 more times. And I might try to pull out a few things, go down on a few things to save some weight and try to leave a little bit at the airstrip. But like I said in the last video, I always just go back to, I might be able to drop a pound or two. Does that really matter versus what I could be potentially losing on the back end if something were to happen? Anyways, thanks for checking out the channel.